Are you considering filing bankruptcy, but are you trying to figure out the cheapest way to do so? Or you're thinking, okay, I don't have the money for attorney fees. What's another way to file? Or what's the success rate of even filing a case? Well, that's what we're going to cover today. So let's get started. Welcome to Ascend Finance's YouTube channel, where we cover Chapter 7 bankruptcy and help you understand the costs, pros and cons to help you be more informed and get you out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster. My name is Justin, and let's get started. I'm going to cover 7 different ways to file for a Chapter 7 bankruptcy that may be more cost effective than you think. Now, first, I'm going to go through finding an affordable Chapter 7 bankruptcy attorney near you. I want to help you find an affordable attorney that will allow you to pay a payment plan before the filing. And also, I'm going to cover finding an affordable attorney that'll actually allow you to do the payment plan after filing. Then I'm going to cover what it looks like to request a waiver of the filing fee and cost of the bankruptcy courses involved. And then I'm going to help you understand what it looks like to file Chapter 7 without an attorney. I'll help you understand what it looks like to request free legal aid, or maybe kind of going through an alternative like borrowing money from a family member or a friend to cover the bankruptcy. Now, as we understand, everyone's situation is unique. Now, to personalize it to your situation, we also built a free bankruptcy attorney calculator that we actually included in the description below that'll help you provide some sort of cost and duration and pro and con breakdown for filing a Chapter 7 and what it could look like from a cost side of things. Now, of course, if you like this video or if you end up enjoying it, please don't hesitate to like below, as those are always encouraging for me to see. And also, if you enjoy this and you want to see more additional content that could potentially help you get out of debt cheaper, easier, and faster, feel free to subscribe as we try to make videos weekly. Now let's get started. Now, as I touched on earlier, I wanted to start with, what it looks like to find an actual affordable Chapter 7 bankruptcy attorney near you. Now, generally when it comes to filing a bankruptcy, there's a few different things involved that could affect the cost of filing. Now, the first one, and pretty obvious one, is actually the type of bankruptcy you're filing. So the cost to file a Chapter 7 versus a Chapter 13 is potentially different. Now, it also depends on where you live. Now, what your location of residence is. Come down to the ultimate expertise of the attorney, and most importantly, the complexity of your case. Now, with that said, I think you can figure out the best attorneys that are going to be the most affordable by understanding what is involved with the cost of a bankruptcy. And so once you have that information, you can help compare and figure out which attorneys may be a best fit. Now, I would say the main things that are going to be included in the cost of filing a bankruptcy is going to be which one you're filing is first. So which chapter are you filing? Is it a Chapter 7? Is it a Chapter 13? Where do you live, right? That's another one, is your location of residence, as that's going to have a huge impact. Ultimately, the expertise of the bankruptcy attorney, and so someone with more expertise versus a younger attorney getting into the field, they may charge more, and most importantly, the complexity of your case too. So if you have a potentially more complex case based on assets you want to protect, or assets or secured loans that are in arrears, different things like that can affect your complexity, and those things would most likely increase the cost of filing with an attorney. Now, also the amount of connection involved in the bankruptcy case. How many times do you need to meet with the attorney, or how much time does the attorney need to speak with you, right? If there's a lot of information the attorney needs from you based on most likely the complexity of the case, they may charge more, right? More time involved, more hours committed, they might charge you more for your case. So the reason generally is often that bankruptcy attorneys have costs, right? They have to recoup those costs by charging for their services. Now, with that said, you may find some local legal aid near you, but I would mention that these services may be for those who cannot even afford a payment plan, right? And so it's just important to acknowledge. Now, the second thing I want to touch on, right, is finding an attorney near you that's affordable, but that also allows payment plans before you file the bankruptcy. Now, some bankruptcy attorneys offer installment plans you can utilize before the actual filing. Now, something that's important to note is the attorney generally will not file the case until they've paid in full. Sometimes that's related to the attorney, and sometimes it's actually related to the court not allowing attorneys to do that based in their area, the district, that they need to make sure the attorney has been paid in full before they file. But some attorneys do allow payment plans. So it's important to ask, do you provide a payment plan? Do your fees need to be paid in full before you can file? And that'll help you compare. Because that goes on to my next point here, is actually potentially third, finding an attorney that'll allow you pay the fees after it's been filed. Now, This is a bit more challenging to find. I would say it really comes down to your residence, like where do you live, the court you're filing in, because ultimately it's generally more so based on the court allowing it versus the attorney. Not always. And so you can ask the attorney whether they file post petition, basically meaning that you pay post the bankruptcy petition, but that would be something you want to ask them and see whether they could do, as I feel there's a lot of benefit of doing that sometimes, whether you have an active garnishment and you need to get it stopped and you frankly can't pay for the fee because of this garnishment, then finding an attorney that could do that or that's allowed to do it could be monumental. But it just really depends, and I would say they're pretty limited throughout the country in who does that. But definitely ask and see if they can file your case post petition and having you pay those fees after it's been filed. Now, 4. Now, this is going to be a smaller way, but it's going to be another way to lower the cost of filing. And this is going to be filing a fee waiver to get the filing fee waived. Now, this is generally an option for most, and it's going to be a form you fill out. And basically, it's a petition to get the filing fee to the court, $338 fee, waived. And so you may be able to include that in your bankruptcy petition when it's being filed, and that way they can eliminate that from being one of your costs. Now, just for information wise, that filing fee is generally the same in every single state. It's not relative to the attorney you're working with. It's not relative to the county you're in. Generally, it should be $338 through the United States. So 5th, I want to touch on filing a bankruptcy without an attorney. Now, fortunately, you're actually not required to use a bankruptcy attorney to file a bankruptcy. Now, there's pros and cons to using an attorney versus doing it on your own. Now, some folks end up using attorneys, some folks do it on your own, but there are definitely risks involved. And so we actually recently just posted a video discussing 5 things to consider before actually filing bankruptcy without an attorney. We also have that other video that goes through the 10 different steps to help you file on your own. And so you can check those videos out as well, as they'll help you understand A, the pros and cons of filing your own, and B, what it would look like to file on your own. Now, 6, this is going to be more limited, but you can potentially request free legal aid depending on your financial situation. So it does depend on whether you can afford a payment based on your income and expenses, based on the income you get, right? And so ultimately, depending on your financial situation, you could qualify for legal aid. And so if you do, you potentially may be assigned an attorney who would help with your case. Now, many states have some sort of pro bono program through the State Bar Association, and then some potentially have like a legal office you could potentially just contact directly. Now, 7, this is more for folks that maybe don't qualify for legal aid and really don't, maybe just lost their job. Just basically they don't have the funds and they may not qualify for legal aid or potentially qualify for the other forms of payments. This is going to be potentially borrowing from a friend or family to help with the case. Now, some individuals may reach out to someone in their family or a friend to help them cover the bankruptcy attorney fees. Now, be careful, because generally you can't repay your friend before filing. You may actually have to disclose that as a potential debt on your bankruptcy forms. Now, that'd be something to address with an attorney, of course, but if you are borrowing money from somebody and then using that to pay for the case, that would be something to just discuss with your attorney and see how they would want to write that up in your actual forms. Nevertheless, I do hope that this video was somewhat helpful, right? And if you do have any questions though, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below or give us a call or text. You can reach us anytime at 833-272-3631. If we're busy or if we're closed, we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Please don't hesitate to leave us a comment below if you do have questions. Thanks again for watching, and I'm always here if you have any questions.